I'm recording this directly after Iowa scored on an 80-yard touchdown run on Wisconsin to go up 28-7 over Wisconsin. This season, the Badgers were supposed to be in contention for the college football playoffs, but instead, they are at risk of having their first losing season since 2001. So what went wrong? Before I get into this, if you enjoy these videos, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know if you want me to do more of these videos in the future. I also want to admit I'm a huge Wisconsin Badger fan, and I'm actually a student there right now, so sorry for any biases. So the first issue that comes to mind is the fact that Danny Davis and Kendrick Pryor have missed multiple games. As Wisconsin's first and second string wide receivers, it's tough when you have a redshirt freshman quarterback who hasn't had a lot of playing experience due to everything going on this year to try to get a groove going when you don't have your first or second string wide receivers. Danny Davis has missed the last 3 games, while Kendrick Pryor's missed 2 of the last 3 games. Kendrick Pryor was out against Iowa and out against Northwestern, while Danny Davis was out against Northwestern, Indiana, and Iowa. On top of that, Wisconsin's leading rusher, Jalen Berger, was out during Iowa this week. So the offense was really a shell of itself, and it's hard to get things going. I kind of saw a lot of these issues coming right after the Badgers played their first home game of the season and then lost 2 games due to positive tests on their team that got stuffed under the rug after blowing out Michigan. Michigan looked like a slightly better team at the time than they do now today and overshadowed the real issues the Badgers are going to have. And then toss in the following week, the Minnesota game being canceled, and you cause the issues for this redshirt freshman quarterback to all of a sudden go from getting into a groove to playing 2 games in what I believe was a 5 or 6 week span. And that's hard for a senior to do, let alone a redshirt freshman. And then to not have your top 2 weapons going into the Northwestern game adds even more struggles. And I think that's when you saw a lot of the problems occur for the Badgers going forward with these offensive struggles that I haven't seen in a while happen to the Badgers. Now, Jalen Berger was out this week, so it was really hard for the Badgers to get a running game going, and it hurt them. And I'll talk about one of the worst plays I have seen all season run by the Badgers later on in this video. Issue number 2 is they've struggled to replace Jonathan Taylor. What if I told you at the beginning of the season, the Wisconsin Badgers, going into the last week of the season, would not have a single running back who went over 100 yards in one game this season? Let that sink in. Jonathan Taylor missed like 3 or 4 games in his whole career where he didn't go over 100 yards. And all of a sudden, the Badgers don't have a 100-yard rusher. Jalen Berger has looked like the most likely person to take over the Jonathan Taylor role in the future. But it seems like he just hasn't gotten enough playing time just yet. He had 92 yards in one game. He had 87 yards in 2 other games. And he's getting 15 attempts per game. So it's tough to really get over that 100-yard mark when you're not getting the bulk of the carries. He's averaging 6 yards a carry, and I think he's got a bright future. He's a true freshman. But when you don't have that Jonathan Taylor-esque running back that you knew you could rely on the past 3 years, or any of the running backs that the Badgers have had since John Clay, it was like expected to have 100 yards rushing for one player. Issue number 3, turnovers. The Wisconsin Badgers, in a crazy scenario, have been unable to hold on to the ball this season. They've had 4 fumbles lost. I think that 4 fumbles lost was before you count in the fumbles they lost against Iowa. And then 5 interceptions, which includes Graham Mertz's stats from the Iowa game on the season. Before the Iowa game, they were at -2 in the turnover ratio. That's not Wisconsin football. Wisconsin football is known for punching the ball down your throat, holding on to the ball, playing smart football. They don't throw a lot of interceptions. They don't fumble the ball a lot. And that's this season we've seen both happen. And it's just weird. And then they've also dealt with some penalty issues. They're averaging, before the Iowa game, 42 penalty yards per game. Want to be honest, I haven't looked at the previous year's penalty stats of how many penalty yards per game they averaged. But it's not the crisp, ready to go Badger team that Wisconsin Badger fans are used to, that we've seen in the past, that we know in the past. In part, that might be due to the missed games. In part, it might be due to coaching. And that's what I want to get into as the issue number 4. The coaching, specifically the play calling. Paul Chryst turned over play calling duties to Joe Rudolph before the season. Looked great game 1. Didn't get 2 games. Looked great game 2 against Michigan. And then the offense just disappeared against Northwestern. It disappeared against Indiana. It disappeared against Iowa for a while. Between the first quarter of the Northwestern game and midway through the third quarter of the Iowa game, the Badgers went without scoring a touchdown. They went 154 minutes without scoring a single touchdown in 3 games. They scored, I believe, with 5:42 left in the Northwestern game in the first quarter, and their next touchdown came with 5:14 left in the third quarter against Iowa. But that's been their only they didn't score. They were down in the red zone. They missed field goals. They missed touchdown opportunities towards the end of the game against Iowa. Iowa had given the Badgers a gift. Ball on like the 8-yard line. And Graham Mertz throws an interception in the end zone on 4th down. And then Iowa goes down the next play because the interception was thrown in the end zone instead of being on the 2-yard line, which I believe, or within the 5-yard line, which the Badgers were on. Iowa gained 15 yards and got on the 20 and then ran the ball for 80 yards to score a touchdown. That's when I started recording this video. Well, the biggest pull my hair out play of the game against Iowa was when the Badgers had 4th and 1. I believe it was the second quarter. We decided to go for it instead of take the field goal. We're down 3-0 towards the end of the first quarter. In classic Wisconsin fashion, you'd expect them fullback, maybe 2 fullbacks, 2 tight ends set, running back in the I formation. Run it down their throat. That's what we got to do. That's what Wisconsin football is known to do. But instead, Rudolph got cute. He brought in Groshek for a wildcat formation and decided to try to run it outside and lost 5 or 6 yards on the play. And then Groshek tried to make it look like it was an RPO and tried to throw the ball down the field, which also dropped incomplete. Anytime the Badgers have gotten momentum this season, there's some dumb play call. It's like Rudolph decided to tear up the playbook after the Michigan game and go safe. He doesn't take risks. And when he does take risks, he makes dumb play calls. Yes, he had the great call with the shovel pass against Iowa. No one saw that coming. That was a great call, but that does not make up for everything he's done. Paul Chryst needs to go to Rudolph and take play calling back for the remainder of the season. I don't know at the time of recording. There's rumors when I'm recording this that Wisconsin might be playing Minnesota for Paul Bunyan-Zach's next Saturday. The Badgers need to win that game. If the Badgers don't win that game, they face their first losing season since 2001. It's going to be an interesting week, and Badger fans aren't happy with the way the Badgers have played the past 3 weeks. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know if you want me to do videos like this for any other team in the future. And remember to embrace the grind.